Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This time tonight, what I wanted to do is I'm ripping off an idea straight from Jason Hanscom over at the Blue Ox Model Shop. So I want to start my own series of Saturday Night Stash Spotlight videos where I'm going to go over stuff that I have in inventory and go through the contents of the box and what I think of the kit. Show some aftermarket goodies to go with it if I happen to have any, and kind of go over what my plans are. So let's take a look. Okay, so for this inaugural episode of the Saturday Night Stash Spotlight, what we're going to look at today is the Italeri Berliet R352 Chevaux / Renault R360. So a little bit of backstory on this truck. The cab in the basic truck was originally designed by Berliet, which is a French truck manufacturer. They created it in 1970. Check my notes here. So they originally created it in 1970, and they did a facelift in 1975. But around that same time, the Berliet company was purchased by Renault, and they had also already purchased another truck manufacturer, Saviem, and so they were co-branded as Berliet and Saviem for a couple of years, but then by 1980 there was only the Renault version. So the Renault version lasted until about 1996, but by then it had been changed names a couple of times, so they ended production of it in 96 as the Renault Major. The same basic cab was also used for, like I said, it was branded as a Berliet, as a Saviem, Renault. It was also used by Ford for the Transcontinental truck that they manufactured in the 70s. That was from, when was that? That was from 75 to 84. And then it was also used by a company called Nicolas as the Tractomass ballast tractor, so big heavy haul brutes that are among the largest road-going trucks in the world. So they used the cab for a number of years. So as you saw in the thumbnail, I also have some aftermarket components from Czech Truck Models to go with it, so I'm going to show you those as well. So let's crack this open and take a look at what we got. Box is a little tight, but and just to show, if I can, let's see here. Let's see. There we go. Still have the price tag on it. I got this at Chuck's Trains and Hobby Depot in Landis, North Carolina a few years ago. Alright. So, let's leave the box over to the side here to make it a little bit easier so I can show you guys what's in here. So, typical typical Italeri instructions for this thing. I'm just gonna let these pop out and look at those in a second. So you got your instruction book. It's a typical over multi-fold fashion from Italeri, starting with the Spruminac here that shows you the different trees that it comes with and how the parts go together, and then you got all your instructions. There's both sides. Shows you how to put the cab together. And then we have a little picture here of the cab, like of the real truck. Well, I guess actually that's the box art, but it shows you where to put all the decals and everything. So, as for the decals, we also have this sheet that the artwork for it is mostly pulled straight from the original release of this kit back in 1983. So you have these silver decals for the mirrors, and then this lovely gauge panel, because Italeri truck kits, the instrument cluster in them is always flat, and then you get a decal for it. And the quality of the decals has increased significantly over the years, but in the 80s, when they first started doing truck kits, it's quite a bit lacking, shall we say. But also for this release, because this one is from 2015, we got this little sheet here that is metal stickers. It's not transfers, these are stickers. So you got some cab trim, the Renault lozenge for the middle of the grille, the Berliet callouts, and then it's really super reflective mirrors. So that ups the detail a little bit. Next in the box we have a tire spider, which is typical for Italeri truck kits. When this was originally tooled, it had 2-piece plastic tires, and then they've upgraded the wheels and the tires since then. So these are Michelin X ZP 12R20. It's pretty standard size for all of the Italeri truck kits. And we have our chrome tree. So this one's still in the bag. I'm not going to take it out because it's going to get blemished if I do that. But we have our front bumper with the headlights. So the headlights mount in the bumper, and then there's this little extension underneath for all the driving lights, because this is an upper trim truck model. And we have license plate mounts, I think. Oh no, sorry, those are grills, and these are driving lights, the 3 for each side that go in the grill here. And we have an exhaust heat shield, trim rings for the tires, or for the front wheels, clearance lights, grab bar, bibendum, Michelin Man, and air horns. And now we have, I should have looked at the instructions to see what tree letter this is, but it's molded in a metallic black. I don't know if you can see. It's not overly swirly, and the metal flake isn't horribly out of scale like you would normally see on, like, say, a monogram kit. So although people bemoan the multi-piece bodies that Italeri truck kits have, the way they design them, it actually goes together pretty well, I find. And it actually reflects how the actual trucks are built. I spend a lot of my life inside a truck, so I note how it goes together fairly well. But we have our left and right cab side panels, and this looks like it's for the battery box. More boxes for underneath. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's not a battery box, that's for the air conditioner up top. So that's the outer housing, and that's the base, and that would be the grill for it. This is part of the air intake, the rear cab wall, the front of the cab, and the cab roof. Oh, next we have our clear tree. Take a look at that because it's next in line. It's kind of hard to see, I guess, but we have our side windows, windshield, and these are the headlight lenses. Now these are, I don't think they work for this version, but there is a version of this kit that has a roof extension, and it has lights on the roof extension. I think these are the covers for those lights. We have turn signals for the front of the cab, tail lights, and then these are the lenses for all the driving lights. Next up, we have mostly interior components. These are molded in gray. So we have the cab floor for the interior. That is the bed, one of the beds, and that's another bed. Then we got the seats over here. This is the interior roof, dashboard. Oh, I guess I lied to you guys. I'm sorry about that. But there is some detail on this dashboard. You need some setting solution, I guess, to fit that decal in there really, really good. Over here, I think this is another part of the ceiling and in the cab. Shift linkage that goes underside of the cab, under the floor. I do believe that's what that is. These are part of the hinge mechanism for the tilting cab. And then these are the interior side panels that go behind the seat. So the beds mount on here. And next we have a big ol' honkin' black tree again. This one is solid black. I think the rest of yeah, so this one is solid black. And there's a lot going on here. So down here we have the engine and transmission halves. So this is a originally Berliet MIVR 835 V8 engine, diesel, turbocharged. And here we have the heads and valve covers, part of the plumbing for the turbo. More plumbing, starter motor, grill. These are the steps that go under the doors, part of the body. Steering wheel, fifth wheel. These are the bellows for the seats. Got the radiator, front and rear. So there's the radiator fan as well. Looks like part of the lozenge. More turbo plumbing, exhaust manifold. No. Yes, sorry. Those are the exhaust manifolds. Those are the intake manifolds. More plumbing. Turbo halves. This is the front timing cover of the engine with all the timing gears and accessory mounts. We have in door panels 3 wiper blades because the windshield is so wide. Pedals, some kind of a tank for something or other. Got air filters, or air compressor filters for fuel, oil, and whatnot. And these are part of the mud guards under the cab. So these go behind the wheel, and these go over the wheel. And these are the mud guards for the drive wheels. And these are the mirror mounts and the mirror faces themselves. And another thingamadoodle, I don't know what that is. These are 2 halves for the injection pump. And we have gear shift lever, and this goes on the back of the transmission. So that's part of the gears. And I think these are the air deflectors that go on the front corners of the cab. Now, this tree kind of has a little bit of metal flake in it, although it really shouldn't, because nothing here is body color. So we have fuel tanks here. This is another an air tank? No, that's not an air tank. Maybe that's part of the exhaust. These are air tanks. This is battery box, more air tanks, and these are the backing plates for the steer axle. So these kits all have posable steering, so these mount to the axle, and then there's pegs here to mount the wheels on. Not entirely sure what these pieces are for. They probably cross members for the chassis, because with Italeri truck kits, the chassis is all modular and you have to put it all together. So this is the second generation of the Italeri wheels, so these are designed to fit the rubber tires instead of the solid plastic. So they only designed a certain layout for these, so a lot of times you end up with a lot of extra wheels depending on what configuration your truck is in. But the way these go together, so these are the steers and these are the drive wheels here. So the steers get one of these rings in behind, and then the drives get a ring on the front. And then these are the inner drives here. So the pegs go all the way through. So this mounts to the axle. This goes on top of here. This one goes on top of here. They all get the rings to go with them. And then there's also a rim that does not have any lug nuts and has holes, because that one's for the spare. Now, the big mamma jamma tree. Bottom of the box, save it for last. So, this here is all of the chassis and suspension components that you need to build this thing. So we have a frame rail down here, and the other one up here. And then we have, this is the fifth wheel rocker plate. We have some cross members here, pieces for cross members, because each cross member is multiple pieces. Axles, so half of an axle there, half of an axle there. And this would be the front drive axle because it has the pass-through for the power converter. And that's the rear. We got leaf springs because this is one rough riding leaf sprung truck, let me tell you. These here are the two halves for the air intake. This is where the filter housing is, and then the air intake goes up to the top of the cab. And then we have more cross members. This would be the drive shaft that goes between the two axles, backing plates for the wheels, torque rods for the suspension, brake cans, more air tanks. This looks like part of the... Yeah, that's part of the air brake system for the drive axles. Another short little drive shaft. Fuel tank mounts. This is the front axle. So those backing plates go on here. And then we have the tie rod that goes in between them. More torque rods, looks like. This is part of the cab mount. This is the anti-roll bar for the steer. This is the two halves for the power converter, so these two go together, and then they go on this axle here, and that allows selectable power transmission between the front drive axle and the rear drive axle. This is part of the steering linkage for the front axle. So there's the backing plates like I showed. They go on here. And then one of these, this goes on the driver's side wheel. And then there's another linkage that goes up to a steering box that mounts on the frame. More suspension links. All right. So that's the basic kit from Italeri. And now we will take a look at these extra goodies here that I got from Czech Truck Models. So this is a conversion kit, so there's resin and photo etch to convert this kit from the version that it is to the earlier Berliet version. So this is the 70 to 75 version of it. So you can tell the headlights are completely different, and then these wings here, lower part of the door, those are all different as well. So when you get these conversion kits from Czech Truck Model, and get our little resin goodies here. So they changed the design of the dashboard when they did the facelift. So you get a dashboard to go with it, and you gotta cut it off of the resin runner here. And these are part of the fenders for the front. So you gotta cut these off of the supports. And then we have the headlight inserts. So the headlights and then the turn signals up here. So to go with that, we also have a photo etch, one of the photo etch frets. So we have two pieces to make the grille. So this is the screen in behind, and this gives you the pattern on top of it. And we have the badges here. So these trucks are available with multiple engines. So the TRH350 means that it's the V8, and it's I think the H means that it's the dual drive, whereas these ones here, so there's the TR305, 320, 260, 280. The 260 through 305 are inline 6 engines, I do believe. And then the 320 and 350 are the V8s. So we have some more grille meshes and trim panels. I think these are to go above the windows. If you look here, the window and the door isn't one piece, so it doesn't go, because there's not enough space in the door. I hope that focuses. There's not enough space in the door for the entire window glass to fit down inside of it. So there's this little bit up top that doesn't move. And so that's what these are for right here, is to do that little bit. And all right, so this is much improved from what you get in the kit. So this is one of the things that Czech Truck Model is really known for in the model truck world, is these beautiful painted photo etch frets that they do. So the instrument cluster is the two pieces. So this goes directly onto the dashboard, and it gives you your black and then all the gauges. And then this fret here is your wood trim overlay. So you stack this on top, and it gives you the depth of the gauges, and then it gives you also all of your switches and gauge surrounds and everything like that. And then these, I think, are for the doors. And then the European trucks have speed limits based on how heavy they are and what they're hauling. So that's what these little placards are here for, and they're in kilometers per hour. And I don't know what the D is for. I'm not real big on European trucks, but I really like them and think they look a lot better than what we have here. And the pièce de résistance of these kits is this little bit right here. So I don't know how well this is going to translate, but if you can see, they're photo etched lenses, but it doesn't translate well. If I take it out of the bag, it might be a little bit easier to show. Yeah. So you can see how thick they are. So you have your photo etched lenses, your lights, and then there's like clear resin on them. So here's your headlights. These are the signal lights that go in these pods here. So you got your headlight lens, and then the turn signal goes in this little square up here. And then these are all the lenses for the driving lights, if you so choose to put them on. And then there's some instructions here from Czech Truck Model that tells you where to put your lights and some more descriptions about what it comes with. And then another little sheet here that shows you where all the photo etch goes. Oh yeah, see? Cab window frame. Yeah. So that's a pretty cool little conversion. So I hope you guys liked going through this with me. And you know, let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, do all the things. If you like what you saw, leave a note. If you didn't like what you saw, and you still watched it, like, dislike, whatever. You don't really have to do anything. But thanks everyone for stopping by. Now I gotta put all this stuff back in the box, and we'll see you around next time.